As we leave Passover behind, many of us are focusing on what kind of chametz we'll be eating this weekend, or maybe we're schlepping dishes back upstairs, the chametz coming back in, the Pesach going out. Maybe we're recovering from many days without power. I know it was quite an intense holiday for many of us for many different reasons. But what is the spiritual mindset with which we take leave of Pesach and move forward into the rest of the year? What we count is the Omer every day, but what we study every week is the Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers. And this time frame actually is one and the same. As we count the Omer, we're counting the days from Pesach toward Shavuot. And there's a custom to study the words of Pirkei Avot every Shabbat between Pesach and Shavuot. And so I'd like to share with you the opening teaching of Pirkei Avot. It's actually not technically from the chapter 1 of Pirkei Avot of the Mishnah of Avot, but rather it serves as the introduction to each one of the chapters. And it comes from the Tractate of Sanhedrin, and it goes as follows. Kohl Yisrael yesh lahem chelek leolam haba. Every person in Israel has a portion in the world to come. Shene'emar, as it is written, and there's a proof text. The Mishnah is bringing a text from Isaiah to prove this point, that every single individual in our nation has a portion in the world to come, has a righteousness inherent in who they are. And so the proof is, ve'amech kulam tzadikim, your people, your nation, all of them are tzadikim, all of them are righteous. Le'olam yirshu aretz, they will all inherit the land forever. Netzar mata'ai, they are the shoot that I planted, says God. Ma'aseh yadai, they are my handiwork, in which I glory. Lehit pa'er. This is the opening teaching of Pirkei Avot, and I'd like to take a few minutes and think about what this has to tell us about how we leave Passover and how we greet the weeks ahead. It tells us that everyone in our nation has a core of righteousness, that they have a sense of a promise of the world to come, of something that they deserve to be rewarded for. And then it quotes God directly, saying that they're all righteous, all of my people, and I've planted each of them, and I glory in their growth. I think if we consider where we are in the process of leaving Egypt and now becoming a nation, the question on our minds can be, okay, who's part of this nation? Who matters? Who carries the flag, the banner, so to speak, of what it means to be the Jewish people? Who is righteous enough to say, I count, I am a Jew, I am an Israelite, I left Egypt and now I go to receive the Torah at Sinai. I am part of the covenant. Who is part of the covenant of the people of Israel? Everyone. Everyone. And I want to read to you from the commentary of Rabbi Yitz Irving Greenberg on the last words of this teaching. He says, the people of Israel are intrinsically precious. Having been created by God, the people of Israel are intrinsically precious. Nothing that they can do can change that. And he continues, they inherit eternal bliss. This priceless divine gift is not given to them because of their actions. In other words, there's nothing they have to do to earn this. It is a gift. But rather, it is bestowed as a result of God's grace and pride of parenting. That took me by surprise, that phrase. That the righteousness of our nation is by grace of God, is God's gift to us, that God always thinks that we are righteous because of pride of parenting. And I think any of us who is a parent or a grandparent, or even if you're not yourself, but you see the way that parents talk about their children. I mean, my child is amazing. She's barely made a scribble, but it goes right on the fridge, hung with pride. It's very hard to criticize one's child completely because one thinks that they're just amazing. And grandchildren, oh, forget it. They're perfect. If God is our parent, then God thinks we're worth it. Full stop. We haven't done a thing, and already we are tzaddikim. We are righteous, each one of us. I think given the atmosphere that we're seeing around the world, around our nation, certainly the difficulties that we're seeing in Israel, the divisiveness, a time of terrible attacks, but also a time of internal attacks, one against the other. I wonder what would it be like if we looked around at other Jews and looked at them like they were our child, the way that God would look at any one of us. And maybe it will help us see them with more compassion, help us see others with, maybe not with the perfection, but with a sense of godliness. If they too are God's child, how would God as parent think of them? And that's what Yitz Greenberg is pulling out of this teaching. It's difficult because we leave Egypt and we start to think about what our obligations are, and we point our fingers to one another, thinking about what somebody else should be doing or should be saying, or how they should be living as Jewish people, or what they should be believing. But everyone went from Egypt to Sinai. Every one of these Israelites is a child of God and is a part of this nation. And so the question I think we can ask ourselves as we leave Egypt and we go off into this uncertainty of the wilderness, the question we can ask ourselves is, who can I include? Who can I see as a full member of our Jewish nation? Who can I look at and say, I may not agree with him, I may not agree with her, but they too are a child of God. Ve'amech kulam tzadikim. They're all righteous in some way. I wonder if all of the Jews looked at one another as if they all had a spark of righteousness, they all were right, as opposed to what we often do is tell ourselves why they're all wrong. But they're all right and righteous, and they all deserve to be part of our nation and hold an important place in our nation. I wonder what that would look like coming out of Egypt and going toward a promised land where we all are God's children. So that's the lesson that we open Pirkei Avot with, and over the next number of weeks we'll be studying Pirkei Avot on Shabbat afternoons. So I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll come to Mincha and then stay for Suda Shlishit as we study Pirkei Avot, and then we'll end with Mariv and Havdalah as we always do on our Saturday late afternoons, early evenings. Please join us. It's wonderful to come together. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a happy Chametz.